Okay, let me just set this aside. Okay, te, patayin mo muna yan. Ang
Always look for the stickers.
Easy to do dinner recipe using, of course, high quality US pork, grain fed to perfection.
Hello mga ka-chefies! This is Chef Mom Rosebud. Welcome to my channel! Siyempre, nandito na naman tayo sa another episode of US Pork It's the Best Season 2. At alam kong napapansin nyo, in just a few days, tapos na ang November, malapit na talaga ang December, Christmas season na. And I'm sure just like me, marami sa inyo ang nakakamiss ng travel abroad. At kung hindi nyo natatanong mga ka-chefies, isa sa mga favorite travel destinations ko ay ang Japan. Bakit nga kamo? Well, I love their culture. Napaka-respeto ng mga tao in Japan. I love the places in Japan. Maraming magandang pupuntahan dyan. I love the weather, lalo na yung mga pa-October to December. Malamig, pero sakto lang yung hindi ka naman nanginginig sa lamig. May enjoy mo yung paligid. And of course, I love the food trip. Talagang walang patapon na pagkain sa Japan. Kahit yung mga nasa streets, even yung mga nasa convenience stores na mga sushi, napakasarap. From their sushi, sashimis, to their pastries, I love eating in Japan. Kaya naman dahil nag-reminisce ako about my Japan adventure, I decided to share with you a simple and delicious Japanese recipe using, of course, high-quality ingredients like US pork, grain-fed to perfection. So continue watching para mapanood nyo at may share ko sa inyo ang aking US pork tonkatsu recipe. When you say tonkatsu, it's just actually breaded pork na fried siya. So first, of course, let me get my US pork from the chiller. Okay. Here is my US pork. Of course, paano nyo ba malalaman if US pork ang binibili ninyo? Just look for the US pork sticker. Will be flashing on the screen kung saang mga supermarkets nyo siya mabibili. And of course, you could also message US Meats Philippines on Facebook if you are looking for bigger pork cuts. By the way, this one that I have right now, this is available sa mga wet markets. So, punta lang kayo dun sa frozen section at tanungin nyo yung butcher for US pork loin. So, dun nyo siya mabibili. Okay, let me just put this in the chopping board. This has been thawing in our refrigerator for ilang hours na. Para ready na siya, hindi ba? And I will be slicing our US pork loin into mga 3/4 inches thick. So let me just take this out. Okay, this is good. One is actually good already. There. Look at that. For those who are mindful of their health, pork is packed with amino acids, vitamins, and minerals your family needs. And not only that, today's pork has about 16% less fat and 20% less saturated fat as compared to 30 years ago. So if you are health conscious, this is actually a good choice for you. Ayan, ganyan lang kaninipis. So I'll be needing around 3 to 4 pieces. Mga 3 na lang, okay na yan. So you just slice your pork loin according to your preferred thickness. Medyo gusto ko kasi yung tama lang, yung hindi sobrang laki ng thickness niya. Parang it will make me crave for more. Actually, pork is naturally low in sodium and is an excellent source of potassium. And when you eat these two ingredients together, it can actually help regulate your blood pressure. In fact, both the pork tenderloin and pork sirloin roast meets the criteria for the American Heart Association Heart Check Mark, which means they contain less than 5 grams of fat, 2 grams or less of saturated fats, and 480 milligrams or less of sodium per label serving. Okay, so slice ng ating US pork loin. Normally, ang ginagawa ko dito, I would pound it para yung thickness niya medyo ma-flatten ng konti lang naman, and of course to tenderize our pork as well. But since I am using US pork loin and it's tender already, hindi nyo na kailangan gawin yon. Pero prefer ko lang na medyo i-pound ng konti para lang ma-flatten ng slight. So let's just flatten it a little. Ganyan lang. You using a mallet or using the back of your knife, pwede. Kung wala kayong mallet. So, both sides lang. Para ma-flatten lang siya ng konti. Tapos, let me just slice. Yan. Magsaslice lang ako ng konting cuts dito sa ating pork. Para mamaya, when we fry this, it won't curl up. Ayan. Mamaya, after I fry this, I'll also be finishing off the cooking process in the oven. So, nagpapainit na ako ngayon ng oven to 200 degrees Celsius. Okay, so let me just season this with some salt on both sides. Siyempre, dapat properly seasoned ang ating food para masarap talaga. And now, like what I said earlier, may breading ito. So, I'll prepare the breading mix, which is just flour, eggs, and Japanese breadcrumbs, yung panko breadcrumbs. Okay, so we have here our breading ingredients. Yung ating flour at ang ating breadcrumbs, I seasoned it with some salt and pepper already. And then our egg. So for this, since there's just two, I'll be needing, since there's just 3 US pork loin, I'll be needing mga around 2 eggs lang. Okay. So again, ang ating breading procedure is FEB, flour, egg, and breadcrumbs. So yung ating egg, just give it a quick stir. Okay. Let me wipe this. Mix ko na yung ating salt and pepper here. Ayan, just mix it. So, we'll just bread our US pork loin. Unahin muna natin sa flour. So, again, use one hand for dry hand and then another pag wet. Para hindi tayo makalat. Okay, this is good. And then dip it sa egg. And then transfer it to our panko breadcrumbs. Ay, ayun. Nahulog. Sorry. There you go. So, just mix that. Okay, and then I will be doing the other US pork loin slices. Okay, so let's just coat our last slice of pork loin. Ayan. Alam nyo ba that there are a lot of reputable restaurants here in the Philippines which uses US pork loin for their tonkatsu. So, we'll be flashing on the screen kung anong mga restaurants yan para naman ma-visit nyo. And of course, when you recreate this dish, make sure that you use only US pork. Diba? Grain-fed to perfection yan. So, this is good. I will now be cooking this. Mga ka-chefis, ang correct cooking temperature for your US pork ranges from 145 degrees Fahrenheit to 160 degrees Fahrenheit. So, kung meron kayong meat temperature, just put it inside or in the middle of your US pork to check the temperature. So, punta na tayo dun sa ating stove at lulutuin ko na tong ating US pork loin for our tonkatsu. Okay, so let's start cooking our US pork loin tonkatsu. I already have here our oil na mainit na, naghihintay na para ma-fry ang ating US pork loin. Ayan. So, we will just cook our US pork loin slices until it turns golden brown. Let's just cook one side first. And then I have here a rack with a baking sheet underneath it. Dito ko siya ilalagay pagka na-fry na and then I'll place it in the oven. Reason for that is para bumaba yung excess oil from the pork, diba? At hindi ma-absorb ng ating karne while we bake it. Okay. So let's just wait for this to brown. Okay, so nag-brown na yung isang side. Let me just quickly cook the other side as well. Diba? Ganyan lang na pagka-brown ang gusto natin. Kasi nga, we'll finish it off in the oven pa. And if you notice, hinuli ko yung third one kasi nga, diba, yung ating size ng pan is just enough for 2. We want to maintain the temperature of our oil when we fry, when we deep fry. Because when you overcrowd your pan, bababa yung temperature ng oil. So instead of cooking your meat, you're just actually steaming it, which is not a good thing. Ayan, ang ating US pork loin tonkatsu, of course, is best served with some rice. Siyempre, hindi mawawala yan. And I will also be making the tonkatsu sauce. Papakita ko sa inyo after this. And it is also served with some sliced cabbage, with some Japanese mayo, some also like lemon. So, this is good. Let me just place it sa ating rack. Ayan. Lagyan na natin siya dito. See? Look at that color. Very nice. And let me just finish off the last piece. There. There. Ayan. And then, let me place it in the oven and I'll finish off cooking for around 3 minutes lang. So, punta na tayo dun. Okay, so while our US pork loin tonkatsu is finishing off in the oven, let me just make the tonkatsu sauce. So, doon sa mga nanonood ngayon, lalagay ko naman yung ingredients with the measurements sa ating description box para magawa nyo rin to. So, let's just put everything here in our saucepan. So, that's the white wine. We also have Worcestershire sauce, soy sauce. We have our cumin powder or curry. Meron din tayong, okay, this is the ginger powder. We have brown sugar. Oops. Okay, brown sugar natin na nanigas. And then our mirin or Japanese wine. We also have here our grated garlic. Just place it there. And our ketchup, tomato ketchup. So just put everything here. So just mix it. And we will just let this boil and simmer for around 5 minutes. So this will be served. Pwede nyo itong ilagay on the side sa ating pork. Or pwede rin naman na i-drizzle nyo on top. It really depends on how you want to present it. Okay. Ang mga Japanese cuisine kasi, actually, they rely more on the freshest and ingredients. Kailangan talaga fresh yung ingredients nila. And they really use quality ingredients for all of their food para siguradong masarap yung ating mga pagkain. Actually, if you taste Japanese food here in the Philippines and if you get a chance to travel to Japan, malalaman nyo rin yung difference ng lasa. Talagang masarap pag dun kayo kumain. So, hopefully, when it's free to travel again, when there's no more COVID, baka balik tayo dun sa ating mga favorite travel destinations. So, this is good. Let me just lower the heat. Okay, tikman ko lang din yung ating sauce para sure ako na masarap. And I could adjust it. Perfect. Perfect. Restaurant quality. Okay, so this is good. Simmer ko lang siya for around 5 minutes at balikan na natin yung ating US pork loin tonkatsu sa ating oven. Okay, this is good. Ang ganda ng pagkaluto ng ating US pork loin tonkatsu. So, punta na tayo dun sa ating counter. I'll just let this rest for a couple of minutes at mag-assemble na ako ng ating masarap na recipe today. Let's go! Okay, so let's just slice our US pork loin tonkatsu. Ayan, ang ganda. There you go. Juicy pa siya. So, just slice it like so. Tapos, lagyan na natin siya on top of our rice bowls. Ang daming kanin, ano? There. So, don't worry, my hands are clean. Like always, make sure your hands are clean. Tatlo para I love you. I love you for your family and friends na papakainin ninyo nito. There. There you go. Ayan, tapos na ako mga ka-chefis ang aking US Pork Tonkatsu recipe. I hope that you enjoyed watching this video at sana naman ay may natutunan kayo ulit. Siyempre yung aking favorite part, ang tikiman time. Pero bago ito tikman, mga ka-chefis, try nyo na itong recipe at home and make sure that you use US Pork products. And when you do, take a photo and tag me on my social media accounts para naman makita ko ang inyong mga creation. Thank you so much for watching me again. Salamat sa inyong suporta. I'll see you again on the next episode of US Pork It's the Best Season 2 Holiday Recipe na. Okay, let's try this. Ang sarap, very flavorful, very tender, very juicy ang ating US Pork Tonkatsu. Try natin with the Tonkatsu sauce. Ang sarap. Try nyo to, ha? Very, very good. Apaka-juicy. Very moist. Sarap.